This is Roadkill's Junkyard Gold. Here's a little Junkyard pro tip. You fans of General Motors G-bodies from the 78 through 86 period of time will be on the lookout for aluminum rear brake drums like this one here from this 79 Pontiac Grand Prix. They feature aluminum construction with these fins which do a better job of dissipating heat than iron and save about 5 pounds per side on the rear axle. Inside, they do have an iron liner which does the job of creating friction against the brake shoes, but these are great for drag racing or road racing or anytime you want to reduce unsprung weight. And they're waiting for you right here in the Junkyard. For many years, Buick's ad slogan was, "When better cars are built, Buick will build them." Well, that was the case for many, many decades, but in mid-1970s, all of Detroit was forced to downsize to meet EPA fuel economy standards, and Buick's best-selling model, the LeSabre full-size car, was shred down 700 pounds. This is an example of a Buick LeSabre Sport Coupe. Now, the thing is, when the downsizing occurred, the V8s, the 350 and the 455, were dropped. So to move a car this big, what Buick did was take their 231 cubic inch V6, put a turbo on it, and make it into the Sport Coupe. Now, these engines were also used in Buick Regals, the mid-size cars, the Grand Nationals, later on in the 80s, but they made their humble beginnings right here with carburetors. And you can see here's the turbocharger, which creates boost by taking exhaust gases and then sends the charged air under the carburetor. This is a draw-through system. The carburetor is a Rochester Quadrajet, it's a spread-bore carburetor. And up in the front, we see this, the turbo computer. This controls ignition timing to prevent detonation and engine damage. Now, this only measures 231 cubic inches, but thanks to the turbocharger, it makes 165 horsepower. And that might not sound like a lot, but that's net horsepower. It's probably closer to 210, 220. And in this heavy-ish LeSabre, it's fairly sprightly, but this is as good as things got in the late 1970s. It was a pretty dark time for automotive performance. Inside the car, on the right-hand side of all turbo sport coupes is a turbo boost indicator. Now, it's not a gauge, but rather a little idiot light setup that has economy, power, and turbo boost. And so basically, the turbocharger, when it makes it 7 to 8 pounds of maximum boost, this goes green, but when you're cruising around, you get yellow to let you know you're saving gas. Now, this is a base model sport coupe with the bench seat and the column shifted automatic. We also do see this one has standard air conditioning, which was mandatory on the Buick V6 engine because it included a heavy-duty radiator and high-capacity cooling to keep that turbocharged engine cool. This also has GM's old AM/FM cassette player radio right there. Rewind, remember doing that? And I dig this too, the Sport Coupe steering wheel, which has a leather-wrapped rim, brushed aluminum spokes, and even fake Allen fasteners on the horn button right there. But this was basically the epitome of full-size Buick performance and style, 1979. Now, outside, Buick did a variety of things to alert people to this car's special nature. Let's check those things out. To differentiate the Sport Coupe from lesser LeSabres, Buick blacked out the top half of the door frame, had a special body with a tiara-style targa band, half vinyl top, which has been rotted out by the sun here, and on the rear quarter panel, a Sport Coupe logo. And around the back of the car, something very special, the turbo 3.8-liter emblem. This would alert people driving 5-liter Mustangs and Firebirds that this was not something normal. Trying to pass this car, you might get embarrassed. Inside the trunk, what do we got? Okay, very cool. This is a Buick-styled steel wheel. These are 15 by 6 inches wide, and these wheels were actually used all the way back to 1965 on full-size Buicks and even Rivieras. And this rim was used without change all the way into the mid-1980s, one of the longest-lived factory-styled wheels of them all. The Turbo LeSabres came with a special single exhaust system. We see the outlet right here. It's a high-volume, high-flow single exhaust tract. There's a high-flow catalytic converter, a high-flow muffler, and again, this single exhaust pipe. The irony, though, is the smaller Buick Regals with the turbocharged 4-barrel engine could be had with dual exhaust at the same time. But for the full-size LeSabres, Buick figured the single pipe in large diameter would do the job just fine. Well, I gotta say, I have a soft spot for late 70s smog-era pseudo-muscle cars. I think what I do is respray it in the same pale yellow paint, because I love that, it's very 70s, and then I'd make sure that the engine and tranny and brakes were all ready to go, and I'd hit the road, roadkill style. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on this car because no upside. But I'd also want to remind people that there's life beyond the mid-size Buick Regal Turbo V6 program. They also built full-size turbo cars.